Okay, back at it. Sorry about that, folks. I think I have a hardware issue on my laptop, and that's why YouTube is not cooperating. But nevertheless, we're back. Let's get the color fixed on this. There you go. Okay, hey, if you are new, you don't know who I am, my name is Nate Savage, and me and my wife, Chelsea Amber, run guitarfam.com, where it is our passion and joy to help people play the music they love with the people they love. Hey, Andy. Yeah, I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm gonna have to look into. I think maybe the dongle for my laptop, the multi-port thing is the connection is going on it, so I'm gonna have to go buy a new one today. Anyway, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you had a relaxing time. I got a cold on Christmas, man. It wasn't fun, but it's going away, so that's great. It's not like a flu or anything, just a cold, just enough to annoy you. So let's see. And normally I do these live streams on Wednesdays, but Wednesday was Christmas. I didn't figure anybody really wanted to be, talking strumming guitars on Christmas. I figured they would rather spend time with family and friends, playing with the new presents they got and all that stuff. So I decided to do it this Friday. Yesterday was crazy. I did not feel good yesterday, and I was doing a whole bunch of stuff in preparation for a lot of stuff coming up. There's a lot of stuff coming up in the new year for the site. I'm very excited about. I'm very excited because it's going to be interacting with a lot of you guys more. Hey, Jim. Hey, Paul Savage, Dad. What's going on? Anyway, I asked a question. When was it? I think it was on Monday or Tuesday. It was like, what are your biggest trouble spots with strumming? And because I have my three that I know most people struggle with, and the answers I got on the videos that I posted since Monday have really confirmed that. So I guess I thought I would just go over them with you. And we have I'll spill the beans on this right now. We have a free strumming masterclass, a live masterclass coming up in a couple of weeks. I won't give you too many details about it right now, but it really addresses these three issues with strumming because I know they're the ones that people struggle with the most. And let me get these comments up that people posted on videos real quick, and this kind of proves it. The three biggest areas that I see people struggle with the time with strumming are technique, basic technique, timing, which is the hidden one, and dynamics, or how to make your strumming more interesting without sounding like you're just chopping wood. So let me go in here and get to the comments. Okay, so L. Lewis on YouTube said he had another comment with the down, down, up strumming pattern that's not really relevant to this discussion, but he ends this comment with also, why is it so much more difficult to strum up as opposed to down? And this has to do with the basic the strumming technique that I was talking about. This is one thing that makes it's a really big roadblock for most people to get from beginner to solid and intermediate, and that's the upstrokes are generally lacking when compared to downstrokes. Because when we start learning to play guitar, we sit down with a guitar for the very first time. What do? We learn a chord and we go, and we do a downstroke. And I think we disproportionately work on our downstrokes, which means our upstrokes are a little more deficient. Also, just by the nature of the way our mechanics work with our hands and arms, and then the guitar, right? Upstrokes are generally harder. You have to remember a couple of things for this. You have to keep a loose grip on the pick, play with the angle at which you pick through the strings, and get a rotational kind of movement going. You don't have to, you want to kind of like an arc like that, not necessarily like this. If you're rigid, grip the pick too tight, don't use an arc, and then you have you don't play around with the angle that the pick's coming through the strings. You're gonna have a hard time with upstrokes. If you keep a loose grip, keep a rotational movement in mind, and play around with the angle of attack, that's gonna help a lot. And that's like a basic crash course in strumming technique right there. Because most of the time, upstrokes are what keeps you from getting better or getting to that intermediate level. And here, the next comment was from Steve Avant. Steve Avant. So sometimes I tend to let the pick dig too much into strings and the upstrokes. I'll start with upstrokes. This is a good opportunity to work on keeping that upstroke light. And that's exactly that goes hand in hand. So just focusing and just practicing only on your upstrokes. Like set aside 3 or 4 minutes each practice session to set up a mirror or video yourself with your phone. Practice the angle, that rotational movement, and that'll help you get a long way down the road with your strumming just in general. That'll make things way easier. You have to practice it for a while to make it second nature, but that's okay. It's worth putting the time in. The next one was let's see. Andy Wright said, "Dynamics is mine. I'm always playing too loud, too hard, especially on beat one of the bar." And this is like the third category that I mentioned that is one of the biggest roadblocks for people. And this is the difference between being like just a beginner, like an intermediate player who just made that intermediate jump to like a solid intermediate player that's on their way to being advanced, is learning how to use dynamics. Dynamic elements like just dynamics in general, louder and softer, single bass notes, muted strumming patterns, all those things. And then the third biggest roadblock I see for people is the hidden one. And it's only hidden because a lot of people don't find themselves in situations where it matters too much because they usually play by themselves, right? But as soon as you start playing with other people, you'll notice that my ability to stay on time with the constant beat is really lacking, or my ability to adjust to people as they're playing, kind of ebbing and flowing, is really lacking. So this is the hidden one and the one nobody likes to work on. But I think it's one of the most important ones because it makes you a lot more musical if you can get control of your timing. I think it's one of the more important things. So timing is the third one. That's the third biggest roadblock to really good strumming. And I've found, like, I started noticing these three things when before I even started really teaching for a living. I worked at Guitar Center, and I would just sell people guitars, and I would see them playing. I would ask them things, and these three things always popped up. It was technique, picks flying out of my hand, upstrokes. It was timing. That one was just obvious to me. And then the third one was dynamics. People felt like, oh, my strumming, it just sounds like I'm, chopping wood all the time. So if you can master those three things, you're going to be in a really good spot to where you're a solid intermediate strummer at least. In this webinar slash masterclass, live masterclass we have coming up for strumming is going to cover those three things. More on that. Keep your eye on your inbox if you're subscribed to Guitar Fam, if you're a member, and if you're not, keep it on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and we'll let you know when that's happening. But if you don't know if you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced strummer, it's a really good idea to get a handle on, like a realistic handle excuse me, on where you are with that, because it'll give you a good idea of what you need to work on. And to help you with that, we created something called the Strumming Evaluation Quiz. You can just go to guitarfam.com/strumming evaluation quiz. And I'll put the link in these videos and everything once they're posted back up. But guitarfam.com/strumming quiz. guitarfam.com/strumming quiz. And if you go to guitarfam.com, there's a big banner where you can take it. But it will help you know exactly where you are, beginner, like an advanced beginner, intermediate, or advanced player. And then it'll give you some steps and lessons that you can focus on for the next little while to get to the next level. If you're a beginner, it'll help you get to like an advanced beginner. If you're an advanced beginner, it'll help you get to an intermediate level of strumming. So it's really cool. It's only 10 questions long. It'll take you 4 or 5 minutes to take, and you'll get emailed the results right after. So I really recommend going and doing that. It may expose some holes in your playing that you didn't know were there, or it may, affirm you and be like, oh, you are an intermediate player in these areas, but maybe this other area you need a little bit of work on. So I'll do that. So that's really it as far as addressing the question of the week. It was, I forget how I worded it, but it was something like, what's your biggest roadblock with strumming? And it's always those three things. Now, the other one that might pop up is like, I can't play through a full song yet. But the reason you can't play through a full song is because of those other three things: timing and technique, mostly. Other than that, I am. It's getting close to the new year, and we send out a survey, a Guitar Fam survey, every January, where I ask you guys, okay, what do you want to learn this year? What do you want to focus on for the site? And one of the biggest things I take away from that is what YouTube videos I do, what cover song videos I do. So I'll be asking you guys what cover songs you want to learn, and then like what core aspects of playing you want to focus on in the community, and what kind of live events or anything like that you want to do. I think we're going to do like some open mic coffee shop nights live via Zoom this year. So that's going to be really fun. If you're a singer, songwriter, if you want to do covers, it'll just give you a nice outlet or a venue to express yourself in a very supportive and kind environment. So that's going to be a lot of fun coming up. But we'll send that out on a survey next week, maybe the week after, because I got a lot going on. But sometime in January. But I really like to know what covers you guys like to would like to see on the site, because like I can make all the covers in the world, but if nobody's using them, then what does it matter, right? But one song I've been thinking about is doing "Feel Like Making Love." That's a really good strumming song because it starts off really easy. But it gives you a lot of room for expression as far as the strumming pattern, dynamics, muted strums, single bass notes, and then the chorus. It's more like a riff, like a part. So that's a fun one. But so be thinking about what cover songs you want to see on the site this coming year. And we're getting up there, man. We're getting close to 100 cover songs on the site. That's really cool. My goal is 200. After that, I don't know if I have enough energy or brain space to do any more. And I'll be like, okay, that's enough. Let's see. What else? Oh, and this is off the beaten path. Like, we're done with all the strumming tips and everything. But I got this guitar. This is a total midlife crisis guitar. This is a 1991-ish. Let's see if we can get it in there. Charvel. I got this because I used to have my first what I would consider real electric guitar. It was probably my third electric guitar. It was a Jackson USA limited edition Guitar Center 30th anniversary purple Jackson Dinky. I got rid of it. I sold it. I regretted it ever since I got rid of it. And that guitar now is going for like $3,000 if you can find one. If maybe even more than that. Excuse me. So I was like, I can't. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to spend $3,000 on a guitar that's just kind of self-indulgent, you know. But I think I got this for with shipping from Japan. I think for $850, which US dollars is like $600. And I sold an HX Stomp and I bought this instead, which is cool. So I didn't have to spend any money on it. A really cool Christmas present. It's a dinky, which means the body is a little bit smaller, which is nice because I'm a smaller guy. And it's a metal guitar. This is going to be my metal guitar. And it's fun. And I can't believe how good a shape it's in for being like a 1991-ish guitar. These normally are going for, I don't know, about $1,200 US dollars, I guess. And I think a lot of people didn't want to risk the shipping from Japan. But I read his reviews and he shipped DHL. And he actually unbolted the neck and took it off and shipped it like that. So I felt pretty comfortable with it. And it was through Reverb. So there's, restitution if anything happens or anything like that. So I did it, pulled the trigger, and I cannot believe how good a shape it's in. It's better shape than some of my guitars that I have right now that aren't nearly this old. So that's fun. I'm going to do a little bit of modification to it, but I'm keeping all the original parts in case, I ever get rid of it or anything. But it's fun. It's just a period. It takes me back to being 13, 14 years old in my bedroom, just sitting there way too loud, sitting on the floor, cranked in front of my amp with a metal zone pedal. But there are a couple of players that I really like over the years that never owned one. So it was fun to get this. It's really out of tune right now. I just changed the strings on and they're still kind of seating in. But that's fun. That to me is just like pure nostalgia. Anytime I feel like cranking up some metal, it's right there for me. So that's cool. And I haven't had a guitar like that in a very long time. So that's fun. Does anybody have any questions in the chat on YouTube? I see we have some stuff going on here or on the other two, Instagram or Facebook. If not, that's it. That's all I'm up to, really. I have to go do a lot of have to schedule some emails today for some upcoming stuff and proof some things, do a lot of copywriting. The fun part of this job, right? So that's what I got for the rest of the day. Hopefully I'll be feeling better tomorrow. I feel like I'm probably 60 or 65% of the way back to feeling all right. Jim says, have you ever thought about doing a video showing you as you modify a guitar? It would be interesting to see your technique. No, I haven't, because I like the end result of modifying a guitar. I find the process a little annoying just because I'm not that great at it. But I'm getting better the more and more I do it. But what I am going to do with this one, Jim, is I sold another guitar and bought this Charvel. And this is like a newer one. It's just only a couple of years old. So it's a modern version of that guitar pretty much. There's some differences, but I'm going to do like new versus vintage. And it's funny because these guitars are almost in the same amount of, the same shape as far as how good of shape they're in. But that's one thing I think I'm going to do as far as a gear video. Mostly, I think what I'm going to do on this guitar is I'm going to switch out the neck pickup, just because this is a really powerful humbucker. It's really hot. These single coils sound great. They sound just like, I compared it to my Strat. They sound almost just like my Fender Strat. But the problem is the volume difference between this humbucker and both of these single coils is pretty drastic. So I'm going to have to put something hotter in here to keep up with the volume on this one. Otherwise, it's just kind of weird. When you flip to the neck pickup, it just drops and you lose volume and stuff like that. So that's the main thing I'm going to do. Eventually, this bridge will probably need to be replaced. It's because it has a little bit of corrosion right here. You can probably see it, and it's probably just going to get worse over time. But right now, it's functioning. It sounds great. Tuners are awesome. Like the frets are still good. I can tell it's been recrowned, but there's plenty of life left in them. I could probably get even another fret recrowning out of it. It's not buzzing at all. It's funny, like right out of the box, put the neck on, eyeballed the posts, put the bridge on, and it came out like just to my specs that I like. I strung it up with 9.5s. I didn't have to do anything to it hardly. It's crazy. Like when I buy a guitar off a marketplace or something, or even from a store, I have to do more to those guitars than I did to this guitar. It's pretty amazing for the age. And shipping from Japan and like not being set up to my liking at all was pretty amazing. The best thing about this guitar is the neck on it. It's just what I like. It's a little bit on the thinner side, but it's really comfortable. So that's fun. Jim, I struggled with soldering for a long time. I went and watched Philip McKnight's video on do's and don'ts of soldering, and it helped me immensely. Having the right tools and just a couple of tips that he gives you make it way, way, way easier. I can't tell you how many guitars and pickups that I butchered because I didn't know what I was doing when soldering, and that video helped me a lot. Philip McKnight, the Know Your Gear guy, the do's and don'ts of soldering, I think it is. And it's funny because on the thumbnail, he has do's and it's holding the soldering iron by the correct end, and the don'ts is holding the soldering iron by the hot end. So it's pretty funny too. He has really good videos. Request happy birthday to me, Casey. Casey songs say you are ready, Casey first. I'm not sure what that means. If it's your birthday, Casey, happy birthday. Awesome. Da, 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 da. Oh, thanks, Andy. Andy says get well soon. Yeah, I'm on the bounce back. It's just a nuisance, pretty much. I slept was a day, not last night, night before last. I fell asleep on the bed in all my clothes, not even have the covers on. I slept for like 12 hours, and that helped a lot. So, okay, I think that's it, my friends. I'll talk to you guys later. Let's see what we got coming up. Our next live stream on the site isn't until the end of January because they already did our Christmas one. So just be looking out for that. And we'll be doing the survey, the 2025 Guitar Fam survey coming up. We have that strumming masterclass coming up. And if you haven't yet, go take the strumming evaluation quiz on the Guitar Fam site. Just go to guitarfam.com. You'll see the banner across the top, strumming evaluation quiz. And it'll help you know exactly what level of strumming you're at, so you can know exactly what to work on to get better. It'll give you some lessons and next steps to get to that next level. All right. Happy New Year, my friends. I'll talk to you later.